Hey guys. So, a few days ago, I told you that I would make a video last weekend, but I decided to go ahead and do it this week instead because of my eye issues and stuff I was having. So, I went to the eye doctor and I got seen, and he said that I had I think I already wrote, coronial erosion. And basically, what this is first thing he asked me was, he was like, have you had any trauma to the eye? I was like, no, not any trauma to the eye. No, not that I can think of. Nothing physical, anyway. I'll get more into that in a little bit. So he said that there's a part of my lens, I guess, on my pupil. It was sticking up, and it was causing obstruction, or is causing obstruction. I'm not over it yet. And every morning when I woke up, when I closed my eyes, I would literally be tearing that thing over and over and over again because it would get caught on my eyelid. And that's part of the reason why I was feeling something moving around all the time. I started to take eye drops. If this happened to both eyes in the beginning, I probably wouldn't have been able to function very well. My eyesight was blurry, even with my glasses. My left eye is what kept me rolling. So now it's starting to slowly get better. I'm not feeling things as I get up anymore, but it's still blurry a little bit when I close it and look at my right eye. But it's getting a lot better. So I want to give you guys an update on that. And the next thing, there's a few things I want to talk about. Before I get into it, though, I want you guys to know that these are not prophetic messages. These are going to be my experiences. If I share a prophetic message, I will directly tell you that I was told by the Lord to tell you this. There's one I'm going to share, but take that to prayer. It's an experience that I had. I'm not saying it's what it is. I'm not saying it's legit. Only the Lord knows. I don't know. I told you guys I take all this stuff on faith. I decided to step out there and do this because I've experienced things I can't explain. So either I'm doing really, really well, or I'm gonna crash and burn. There's really no in between. The things I've experienced and things that I've witnessed, it leads me to want to follow. So either I'm following the good or the bad. I don't know yet. So far, it seems to be going well, and I'm just gonna keep doing that. He will decide what happens to me. Nobody else. I don't care what any of your guys' opinion are. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support for the ones that do support me. But I'm gonna keep doing this regardless of what you guys think. It's not about what the people think. It's about getting the information that he gives me to you guys. I don't care how I'm received. Anyway, the first thing I want to talk about is how I tell you guys about seeing in the spirit. So I was in the bathroom it was probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago now. I was going to share this one sooner, but I decided not to yet because it was an experience. And I'm just laying there, head bowed, in silence. I'm just asking the Lord. I need guidance. I'm so confused. What is this? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it demonic? Is it not demonic? What is this? Because a lot of people I talk to, they're like, that's not good. That's not good. I'm like, well, but there's people in the Bible. There's people in the Bible that could see in the spirit. So it's like, how do I tell the difference between what's good and what's not when there's counterfeits to everything that I experience? That's where faith comes in. If he's already chosen to reveal the spiritual side of things to me, then I have to have a layer of faith, and that's following this stuff. If you just came and did some, I like I said, I've witnessed some things that's good enough for me. Okay. Anyway, so as I'm laying there and I'm sitting there, I'm praying, I'm asking for guidance. I'm sitting there. At times, I feel like I was gonna cry because sometimes I feel so confused. So I'm starting to think about this, and I remember I kind of drug a little bit, but eventually I figured up, I finished up Ezekiel, and it was, I believe it was a Saturday. I was at my house, and someone, I'm not going to say their name. If they happen to see this video and they want themselves to be known, that's fine, but I'm not going to name them. These two people, missionaries, came up knocking on my door. My kids answered the door, and I'm like, no, we can't play right now. I thought it was kids coming knock on the door to see if the kids can play outside. They're like, no, it's an adults. So I walk over to the door, I open it up, and this man and this woman are standing there. And he starts talking to me, and he's like, is there anything you would like me to pray for you over? And this, and for some reason, I felt like telling him, because I was like, if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. You'd probably think I'm crazy. And I said, but I told him about how I can close my eyes and I see visions, how I see things in reality, how I've seen in the spirit. I told him about the war, and how Israel's going to lose the war, and how Yahweh Sinwar, I was told, is the Antichrist. And he came back on me and said, we are in Ezekiel 37 times, and Israel is not going to lose. And I went back on him and I said, I was told that we are in Ezekiel 39 and that Israel is going to lose the war, but they're going to be shown mercy. And after that, we just kind of veered off a little bit, and I told him, and then he actually came back on me, and he's like, I told him, I was like, I went to work one day and I started hearing things that wasn't people. And I was telling these things, and he's like, looking there for a minute, and he's like, about 8 years ago, I think it was, he told me he heard voices too. He found out later on, enemy, test, not sure. So, he was told to a lot of different things, but the one thing I'm going to say is that he related to what I was talking about, and that he was told to like walk across the street with his eyes closed on trusting the Lord. The same kind of things I was told, but how I was told to walk over to the freaking railroad tracks and sit there and trust that the train would stop. I didn't do it, and it was stupid. I was also told, I told you during my story, I put the blindfold on and I was walking around. That one wasn't so dangerous, and it was like in a trailer park area. So I was like, you know what? This sounds kind of cool. I'm going to see what I can do. So that's what I did. I didn't do nothing terribly dangerous besides the one instance, but I couldn't let it be. That's just how it is. Anyway, so I got his number. I've texted a few times. He's trying to get me to go to church. I'm trying to figure out how I can do that. But I just found it really, really cool that like this happened like 2 or 3 days after I'm laying on the ground in the bathroom, seeing all this stuff around me, crying to the Lord, asking for guidance. And then this guy walks up to me. So was he sent there to correct me and say that I'm wrong in the Ezekiel thing? Maybe. I don't know. Or was he sent there to make it real, that I'm not crazy and that I'm not the only one that's been through crazy things like this? I know I'm not. Just a lot of people don't want to come forward about it because of judgmental people. But I told you in the very beginning, guys, I don't care what you think about me. I'm okay about that. Anyhow, so I found that really cool, It's like the Lord answered my prayer by sending me a guy that just barely, he even told me this, he just barely got done reading Ezekiel. And then he comes over and knocks on my door, and we're talking about it, and I mentioned Ezekiel. He's like, hey, that's funny. I was just reading Ezekiel the other day, Ezekiel 37, and that's when I mentioned Ezekiel 39. And it just kind of dropped off there. We didn't debate about it or nothing like that. He was just like, you know what you said, and you know what I think, and it's just how it is. And then he told me about his experiences. After that, they went about their way. I got his number. I've texted him a few times asking, I was like, I hardly ever find anyone that relates to me or understands what I'm saying. Either they're for me or they're against me. There's really no in between. Either you're spiritual and you understand what I'm talking about, or you think I'm completely out of my mind. That's just how it is. So there's that experience. And then, what was the other one I was going to share? Oh, I'm going to tell you guys this other one, and I want you guys to really take this to prayer, because I can't say it's reality. I'm taking it for truth for myself. Okay? So, I'm laying in bed, trying to see in the spirit. I'll be sitting there. Sometimes I'll just sit there in the quiet, and I'll just be. And as I'm sitting there being, I see in the spirit, and then I wasn't looking in reality at the time. I was closing my eyes and just being with the Lord. And this vision in my head popped up of this hand with like this robe type hand on it. I can't really tell exactly, but it pointed and it started drawing. I think it noticed I was still questioning things, and then it started writing this name, and it said YAHUSA. Now, I saw this happening. I felt the sensation, and it was saying it audibly at the same time, all at the same time. And he said, "That is my name. YAHUSA." Later on, when I had the thought that I wanted to share it, I had another intrusive thought come in saying, "You're not supposed to share that with no one. Only certain people get to know that." And then I was just like, you know what? I don't care. If I'm going to get shown information, I'm going to assume that's not just for me to know. And I'm not telling you guys that's the truth. I'm just saying that's an experience that I had. Okay. Now, after that, I had another one. I had a dream. And this one was pretty strange. I'm not going to tell the whole dream, because the part after that was kind of weird. But this one part, there's a few times when I fall asleep and I feel myself start to like go up. And this has happened a few times. But this time it was strange, because it was like I was trying to go up. But as I was going up, I saw these misty black figures all around. And for some reason, I sat straight up. I brought out this weird looking sword, and I started slashing these spiritual beings, and they turned into demons. The mist, it figurized into a demon, and I did this multiple times. It's like I'm trying to go up, and they're trying to heed my path. And eventually, it's like I went up really, really far. And then I turned and I started going down. And then it's like I knocked him. I went back up, and then I went down. I was like, man, is this the time? Because, I keep getting told, the time's short. I was like, well, this time I'm probably going to go up and never come back. But that time I came back again. And I was trying to think if there's... Oh, yeah. Okay. After I finished Ezekiel, I've noticed I would be like watching YouTube or playing a game or whatever the case may be, watching news, and I would be listening to Spotify sometimes. It probably wasn't news. It's probably something else. Maybe I was like cleaning or playing a game or something where I could listen to music. And I kept hearing this song talking about the walls of Jericho falling down. And in my head, I kept having the thought. I was like, I can't remember where that story's from. I can't. And it was just there all the time. I was like, I remember hearing it, but I couldn't remember where it was at. And the other day I asked the Lord, I was like, so what do you want me to read? I finished Ezekiel. What do you want me to read next? And I heard Joshua. I started reading Joshua just the other day. I'm at 10 now. Mind you, I've already read the entire Bible. I'm asking him what he wants me to read, pick and choose, so I can just learn stories closer. Because now that I can actually focus on things instead of just like reading it front to back and trying to get all this information all at once, I can actually focus on key areas that I want to. And now that he told me that the Joshua story was, not only was he a warrior of God, that God walked really close with him, he told me that's what he was with me too, and that he's never going to leave nor forsake me. And I didn't realize that's the same story where the walls of Jericho was, and I thought that was really cool. That he not only showed me that he's there with me, he's watching over me, he's protecting me, but he answered my question too that I kept having in my head that I never even asked. So I thought that was really cool, and I wanted to share that with you guys. This video is getting kind of long though, so I'm going to cut it off there. It's been a while since I've shared a video, so I wanted to share a couple of updates. Like I said, no new prophetic words now. Anything I've said here, I'm not saying is point blank. It's just experience, prayer, especially the name. If that's wrong, I know it was used. I know that specific spelling of the name was used, I believe, in one version of the Bible, but I haven't looked up to find out where yet and how old it is. But I did find it interesting that it is close to Yahweh. Said like Yahusa or I don't know how to pronounce it. Yahusa would be the name. Anyways, thank you guys, and God bless.